Let's go.
Hey everyone, and welcome back or welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to talk about the slight discourse regarding Kim Sejeong's comment on Universe Ticket. Wasn't sure whether to make this video just because as I wrote the script out, episode 4 had just aired and both Jiyoon and Taewon have both been eliminated, which is a bit of a yikes since they're involved in the discussion, and I was going to talk about the many chances that they have during the show. So yeah, not really watching Universe Ticket, so I'm not really sure how it's all working, but I did see Sejeong trend because of the comments she had made towards those two contestants with idol experience regarding what is required to be in a girl group. It all kind of made sense to me. However, I then saw people attack Sejeong for her comments, which kind of inspired this video. So the plan is to kind of unpack the comments and really see whether I may be understanding it differently. But yeah, before I start, I would appreciate it if you can like and subscribe to my channel. Without further ado, let's start off with the backstory to this. Universe Ticket is the SBS equivalent to the Produce series, as the survival show will form an 8-membered project girl group for 2.5 years. In the first episode, we're introduced to Buster's Jiyoon and former Dia's Chaewon as contestants for the show. Both with experience in the idol industry would show underwhelming performances, leading to Sejeong making her infamous comment that skills aren't important for girl groups and hiding the skills that you lack is more important. Sejeong goes on to say, regardless of getting 20 seconds or 82 seconds to shine, the lacking skills shouldn't be so apparent, which she believed even if the two contestants performed their auditions for 20 seconds, the same feedback would be given. These comments were met with relatively mixed reception, or maybe I was on the toxic side of Twitter as people were coming for Sejeong's throat. However, I did also see people completely defend and understand where she was coming from. There doesn't seem to be much fallout from this though, since it doesn't really get brought up too much now, and with the recent episode, it seems like there are bigger fishes to fry. But I thought it was interesting to see Sejeong trend again, but for a different reason to what she's usually known for. Regardless, those comments were seen as quote-unquote controversial-ish, and so next up will be my thought process on her comments. My initial thoughts about Sejeong's comments was, yeah, that makes sense. Is it right though? Not really. But is it the reality? Of course. Obviously, the idea of hiding lack of skills being more important than the actual talent sounds weird as, but her comments speak to a larger conversation between Western and Korean music industry. Talent within K-pop can only take you so far before other factors boost the idols into higher levels of popularity and success. The whole idea of hiding lack of skills comes from the perfectionism that K-pop has instilled in idol culture, making that the bare minimum of how idols should perform. Obviously, it's not like being able to hide your lack of skills will instantly mean good things for the contestant, but that's just like the bare bone minimum to pass one of the first hurdles of starting to get some popularity. Then to add to that, there is that added layer of having idol experience that Jiyoon and Chaewon had that made the judges expect some standard level of decentness. Also, the judges wouldn't give feedback based on what was aired. It would have been based on what they saw. And so yeah, there was some slightly questionable editing done in how they presented Chaewon's performance, but the comments weren't really out of left field if we take into consideration the many factors for Chaewon. The comments made could literally apply to most of them too, but I think it was the added layer of being an idol and not quote-unquote matching the level of her situation that led to Sejeong giving her comments. Funnily enough, all the judges agreed with Sejeong, but it seemed like Sejeong was the only aired feedback that led people to target her. I mean, it feels pretty obvious that there are so many factors that influences a trainee's ability to debut and also how they're perceived, which is another consideration. One factor that seems to be slightly glaring within Universe Ticket at the moment is international audiences voting for their nation's representative, regardless of talent. This can clearly be seen as Vanessa has jumped up to first place despite her glaring lack of skills. Obviously, she could go through that Sohae and Haewon arc, but just at this point in time, if we really base it off solely on her current skill and talent, Vanessa shouldn't be anywhere close to first. I mean, even Chaewon's first episode ranking wouldn't completely be attributed to the talent that she showed through her performance. Her experience within Dia allowed for some audience members to immediately recognize her compared with other contestants, and that's kind of what allowed her to shoot all the way to second place. Obviously, Chaewon does have decent skills from her Dia days, but her first episode ranking can definitely be attributed more because of the slight form of nepotism, like most idols that have joined survival programs like Universe Ticket. But yeah, all this to say, Sejeong's comment isn't revolutionary at all, as it does seem to be a noticeable pattern that appeared throughout the industry and goes beyond just Universe Ticket. There have been some comparisons to how G-Idol's Soyeon responded in the first season of My Teenage Girl, in which audiences voted 2 contestants into getting a proper evaluation from the judges. And I think it's a very similar situation, with also slight differences. I mean, firstly, one of the clear major differences is that Jiyoon and Taewon both had idol experiences, and thus judges would have had to make an equitable assessment. However, the overall messaging is the same, in that talent can only get you so far. I mean, the combination of their ages and energy while performing just made the 2 girls from My Teenage Girls more votable to the audiences. And that's kind of why we saw them get past the first section of their audition. This kind of highlights the hypocrisy and inequitable treatment towards contestants, as there is no one way to determine whether contestants will get popular. I mean, if we look into exemplars within survival shows that have aired, IOI's Sohae and IZ*ONE's Haewon are 2 immediate idols that did not really display any crazy skills and initially had just a lack of skills within their own survival shows. However, they still got fans and votes to debut because they were able to show their hard work and effort in hiding their lack of skills. And then they gave a good enough performance for fans to justify voting for them. Once again, perfectionism is ultimately the game of K-pop, and so as long as the fans can see you strive for that and how you continue to portray yourself, they'll vote for you. The concept of talent and skills has basically transcended beyond the 3 standard skills that are usually seen within K-pop groups of vocals, dance, and rap. I mean, watch my 2 K-pop filler videos and you can see many different opinions as to why certain members are important or fillers within the comment section. That is almost how visuals also thrive within the industry too. Most solely visual-based idols just need to do the bare minimum performances of not completely showing too much lack in performance, and then they can still become popular through letting their visuals do the rest of the work as their appealing charm. All this to say, Universe Ticket is not an isolated incident where Sejeong is unraveling the realities of what K-pop is. It's been around, and this is just one of the 4th walls that Sejeong is speaking out about. Just because the performances were not at a quote-unquote decent level doesn't mean that Jiyoon and Taewon are completely done for. There's always time to improve, and it could just be one of those unfortunate situations where the final performance that gets aired was the worst out of all the practices that they had done. Doesn't mean that's it and they'll never make it. However, this was not the same energy as I would see fans take shots at Sejeong as if she was talking about their parents. The final thing is about people bringing up Gugudan's lack of success to invalidate any of her comments. I could kinda see how that makes sense, but also not really. I feel like a good spectrum of success levels and skills is necessary within the judging panel. Sejeong has got both in that she's experienced a spectrum of success through her different ventures. She has evolved into becoming an entertainer through her displayed likability and her variety appearances, seen both highs and lows in her idol career through IOI, being a soloist, and in Gugudan, and then to top it off, her potential main focus, which has seen her regain more success as an actress. Gugudan was one of the underwhelming things that didn't really give her the impact needed to bring longevity into her idol career, but similar to Daya, Jellyfish and MBK was the oil to the water of girl groups. They just didn't mix due to the incompetence of the companies, and so it's weird that people are trying to tear Gugudan down when Daya faced a pretty similar situation. As well as that, Gugudan kind of proves that skills aren't that important. Despite them having pretty good talent and being able to hide any lacking skills that they want, Gugudan was not able to match that success due to the other factors combined that would ultimately lead them to disband early. As a result, this further solidifies what Sejeong has been saying, and despite it potentially being harsh, it is the ultimate reality. Final thoughts. This discussion seems to be a minor blimp in having long-lasting changes to anything. anything, but it has become a recurring underlying discourse for many survival shows. And with the results of episode 4 looking really not the best for who is representing Universe Ticket, the overall messaging conveyed by Sejeong will continue to trickle through as viewers determine the final lineup for Universe Ticket. Not sure about the success of the eventual debuted group, as the oversaturation of K-pop makes me already question how well they'll do. I would equate them to something like Classy, as Universe Ticket is mainly banking off the panel of judges, considering SBS hasn't had much history of survival shows besides Loud, which at least had the clout of P Nation and JYP at that time. But yeah, we'll just have to see how far they will promote the group, and hopefully the lineup looks pretty great. But yeah, that's it for the video. Thanks for watching, and let me know your thoughts on what Sejeong said, your thoughts on Universe Ticket, and anything else you've taken away from this video. Despite having looked into Universe Ticket a bit more because of this video, I'm still not really that interested in watching it properly. However, it has kind of inspired my next video, which once again has something to do with Chaewon unintentionally. My next video will be talking about the Blank and Friends discourse. It's kind of interesting to see another Dia member talk about how Taeyeon overshadowed the group as their intro package to their survival show reappearance. And so I wanted to look into the good and bad of this whole phenomena. But yeah, if you're interested in this topic, then please like and subscribe to keep up to date, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!